All right, good afternoon, everyone, our friends and families on Facebook and on YouTube. I want to welcome you specially to another episode on the Ask Dr. Sandey show. My name is Anu Ojo, and I want to welcome you all once again. Please, as you join us, I would like to encourage you, as I always do, so let's get this word out by sharing this video. If you're watching us on Facebook, you could share this video on your timeline by clicking on the share icon, or you could share it to groups you belong, or you can suggest this video to your friends by sending it into their inboxes. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you could share this link to your social media platforms. And if you are a first timer, you're joining us for the first time on this show, I want to welcome you. Thank you so much for joining us today. What is the Ask Dr. Sandey show? Well, this is that show on Dr. Sandey Adelaja's platform where people from every part of the world, every religion, anybody sends Dr. Sandey questions, and he's here and he gives answers to those questions. The good part about it is that every question is welcome and anyone can ask a question. So if you are joining us for the first time and you are thinking, how can I send a question to Dr. Sandey Adelaja? Well, it's very easy. As you're watching us right now, you could send the question on the comment section. So if you're watching us on YouTube or you're watching us on Facebook, you just please type letter Q on the comment section and ask your question. It's very important that you type letter Q because that is the only way that we will be able to differentiate your question from random comments. And if you would like to be anonymous and you don't want people to know you're the one asking the question, well, you can just go to sundayadelajablog.com/ask. sundayadelajablog.com/ask. You're going to see an interface there where you could send in your question and you can be anonymous. And you can be rest assured that we have a system that would gather all the questions from the blog, and I will be asking your questions on this show. Well, you're welcome as you join us once again. Please kindly help us by sharing this message, sharing this video, and let's get as many people as possible that could join us in today's program. As you can see on your screen, we are going to be answering a question at least to start the show. And the question is, did God set Adam and Eve up? Did God set Adam and Eve up? I'm sure you might have your opinions. Feel free to drop your opinions. Feel free to drop your thoughts. And feel free to ask your questions if you have them. But you know that this question was sent to Dr. Sandey, and he will be answering the question. So that means that he is here with me in the studio. And it will be great for you to share the video, invite your friends as we get Dr. Sandey to answer the question. So, Dr. Sandey, good afternoon to you. Welcome on the show.
Good afternoon.
Welcome, sir.
Yep.
You're Joseph, coat of many colors.
Yes.
Coat of many colors. I remember the first time you, maybe not the first time, but the first time I heard you talk about this this design of blazer, yeah, and you were asking that, do you think it was a white man that designed this for me? He said they were not thinking of me. They were not thinking about me. Yeah, and that's the truth, because I, for example, I go to the mall with Victor, and one day we decided to go and visit all the suits stores just to check for suits, and it just really more like dawned on us that Dr. Sandey was saying the truth. So these guys who are designing these blazers and these suits, they are not thinking about us. We're not even in the picture
At all.
At all, because we went there and sincerely, all of the suits there were all black and brown.
Or gray.
Or gray. And then the blue suits that were there were dark blue, not bright blues. So, I was talking with Victor, and I was like, but imagine, I never thought about this. I've been going to suit stores to buy suits and even jackets. It's all black, and I'm not even thinking about it.
Yep.
I didn't even think that. These guys didn't even think about us. They just did it for themselves because they're white and they need a darker shade to complement their complexion. But for us, we were not thinking, and it was just like, for me, it was an awakening that we really need to live as conscious beings and to question everything and to do things from an informed perspective and informed place. And I remember you have to be conscious. And you said, do you think anybody, I designed this myself.
Yep.
And it's true, because if you go out like this, what people would define you as is like you're a clown, because the clown is a clown that dresses with so much colors like this.
Yep, because that is what the clowns, the idea of clowns dressing like that didn't come from Africa.
It's from them too.
So you have been defined.
Yeah. Because when
you come with that, when you think like that, who put that thought in your head?
They did it.
You didn't put that thought in your head. So when you see me like this, I'm dressed like this, I say, that's a clown. That's a clown. That clown, that thought that you had also is a proof that you don't belong to yourself and you don't control your life. That is a proof that somebody has planted something in your head and you have agreed with it.
And you didn't question it.
And you didn't question it. So I am not living by those things they planted. They say it's a clown because that idea of clown is because in their society, the white man's society, they dress up clown like that because they are always living in gray, black, winter, or dull. So when they want to come alive and they want to get entertained or they want to wake up and they want to be merry and joyful and happy, they came up with, a combination of clowns to really make everybody merry. So the colors, they know that colors play a role in that. And that's why they put those things on the clones so that they will be able to make them happy when they need to. But I don't need to wait for a clone. And I'm not a clone. I am a personality that they already see as black, all the time black, not just at their time when they need it. So they call it a clone because that is the way it functions for them. That is what the clones do, the way they have packaged it. But that is their thought, and that's their reality. But I don't live in their reality. I live in my own reality. I create my reality.
Wow. And I think that's a big challenge for us all. We have to create our reality. For me, I think I've been working on building that consciousness, and I try to do that even with my dress sense and everything, but just that we cannot throw some of our clothes away because we bought them without thinking. So as we grow and as we get bigger, we begin to make those changes in our lives.
Yeah, because those things you buy or you bought are coming from the choices. You just go to their shops, and you only have to pick from the choices that they have. Yeah. They didn't think of you. So you have to come under them, and you think you are okay, you are a human, and you think you have satisfied your desires, but your desires has been limited. You have only, picked from what they made available to you, programming you to think that you will like one of these ones. So by the time you like those things, you begin to think that's what you like, because that's what I saw the other time, and that's what I bought the other time. I always like this color. Yeah, I've picked this color before. So you will be thinking that is you. So they have programmed you. They have defined you. And I don't want anybody else to define me. I define myself. So if they are not available, I've already defined myself before I went to the shop. So by the time I get to the shop, they don't fit into their own definition. So I create my own reality according to what I'd already internally, inside me, cultivated.
Well, that's what we're talking about, being a personality. And even as you were speaking, what I was also processing in my mind is that when you want to go out of the box that they've created for you, what you want to choose, they tell you that is odd.
Yes, that is wrong.
That is wrong.
Like everybody that sees me, they say, no, you have too many colors. You don't put so many, it's color clash.
You
don't mix this color and that color. I said, well, who told you that? Where did you get that information from? So how did you know that? Oh, everybody knows it. Were you born with it? You know, when you were in mother's womb, did you know that?
You will say, you will say that, okay, the person that chose those colors and said this is right and this is wrong, was he a spirit? He's not a human being that chose it.
Like you.
Like you. So what makes you think that I cannot choose what I want to dress and the kind of color combination I want for myself?
Use my own brain.
My own brain.
Just like that other person uses his own brain.
Well, wow, being a personality. I remember you have a teaching on that, really, on your HMT. I remember you had an HMT on personality. I think it's something that we all have to go and churn and listen to and recreate ourselves and give life to ourselves and to be in charge of our lives and not to be controlled by other people's thoughts and opinions. All right, so that is an intro into today's discussion and today's question. If you are just joining us, this is Ask Dr. Sandey show, and I have some questions ready for Dr. Sandey, and would like to dive straight in. So let's have the slide with the questions, please. All right, so the first question, the first one. Okay, hello DSA. I've always wondered about something. Perhaps you could help clarify it for me. According to Genesis 2:17, it says, "But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die." The question is, why did God create or even make it available if the tree was trouble and was not to be touched or eaten? And with reference to Exodus 20, why and how come God gave the 10 Commandments, where 8 of those laws were expressed in the negatives, thou shalt not, if in fact they were not meant to be broken? I really hope you can help me out here.
Okay, so can you understand the question yourself?
Yeah, there are 2 questions
that
the person is asking. The first one, let's still have the question there. So the first question is about Adam and Eve and the scenario that happened in Eden. So she was asked, or he or she, I don't know, was asking that, why did God create or even put that tree? Was he a setup? Did he put it there as a setup for them living? If he knew that it was not good for them to eat and it was a trouble, why did he put it there? Was it like a bait, some sort of like that?
So then the second also would be the same thing, basically.
And the second question is also related to it, but this one is with
another example.
With another example of the commandments. More like, is God setting us up for failure? For failure.
Yeah, that's a big point. Okay, so I'm going to answer that question in a discussion manner so that you understand. Nas. So, was that a bait? And was God setting up Adam and Eve for failure? I would say no. So why did God put the tree? If you are a student of science student, you will know that any system that functions must function with some form of or some measure of restraints. So if you want to put a system into place and you want that system to function, that system has to function with the restraint system in place. And now, according to physics, what role does restraint play in a system? It's a very significant role. If a restraint system is not put in place, that would mean that that old system will function infinitely. unlimitedly. And so for something to function infinitely, that talks about it being out of control and out of under authority, out of restraint. That means not under authority, out of limitation, infinite. It cannot be stopped. It cannot be limited. It cannot be slowed down. So there is no system that functions like that. The only system or entity that functions like that is God. A system of control or a system of restraint is present in everything. This light we put on now, we can put it off. Even sun that we see, you know, it cannot be put off. You cannot switch off sun. Yeah. But there is a system of restraint in it. Can you imagine if sun is on us perpetually? First of all, because the earth rotates, so that's a system of restraint. The distance is a system of restraint. Otherwise, you would have just killed everybody. So many systems of restraint there. So when it comes to Adam and Eve, God put just one system of restraint to let man know that they were still created by somebody. And if you are created by someone, if you emanate from somewhere, that thing that creates you has a helper hand over you and is still in charge of you and is superior to you. So you therefore must be under the authority of that entity that created you. But if you don't put a system of restraint there, then you yourself, you are working against creation, the principles of creation.
And you self-destruct.
You are self-destroying what you created and yourself. Because that thing you created without a system of restraint is going to be out of control against itself and against you. But it would now destroy the system that created it, and everything is destroyed. So if that system of restraint is not there, and it is unlimited and perpetual, infinite rotation process that is going on in that place, it will come back, not just to what has happened now that the system has been violated, and it led to the death of Adam and Eve, spiritual death of Adam and Eve, and of humanity, and all of us are suffering now. But that is because the system of restraint was violated. But if that system of restraint was not there at all, that destruction that we see that it brought to humanity and to Adam and Eve would have been the destruction of the total system of existence and of God himself. So it would not have been a local and limited destruction. It would have been a destruction of everything. That is why God was also able to contain Satan and Lucifer and the 1/3 of the angels that rebelled with him and fell, because there was a control, there was a restraint system fixed into the system of heaven itself. And thanks to that, God was able to manage the situation. But Satan didn't realize that there was that system of control. So, and the entity of heaven and of God himself was able to be preserved, thanks to the system of restraint.
Dr. Sandey. Wow. I'm processing your thoughts as a science student, because when you said a science student, so that gave me a line to channel your explanation, and I can explain what you just said scientifically, just using, as a medical doctor, using the system of restraint that God has put into our body.
Yes, please.
Has put in place. And without that system of restraint, people will just be dropping dead every day. But because of the system of restraint that God has put into our body, when you walk 48 hours, you will not feel the same way without sleeping. The system of restraint that God has put would make you feel headache. It will make you feel hungry.
Tired.
You make you feel tired. You almost want to faint. And what would that do? That would restore. That will bring you back to your normal functioning that He has designed in your system, that you need to sleep, so you go and sleep. You need to eat, so you eat. It will bring you back to where you're meant to function. And that makes a lot of sense, because if there was no system of restraints put for Adam and Eve, even when they started erring and going against the normal functioning that God has already established, they wouldn't even know that they are erring.
Yeah.
So they would destroy themselves, and then they would destroy the whole plan of God for the earth. So that makes a lot of sense. And also, as you're speaking, I was also analyzing it on physics too, with the restraint of friction. And I just imagine there is no friction. If there's no friction, then accidents is just going to be happening
every second.
And people will be dying. So that makes a lot of sense, because now it doesn't look like a trap. It doesn't look like a trap, but it's actually love.
So when people don't understand that, they think it's a trap.
Yeah, they would think, like, why did God, if God
lay
knew,
a trap?
Yeah, why did he set that trap for them? So it wasn't a trap. Wow. But
it was a protection.
It was a protection out of love.
And a defense. A most powerful act of love.
For protection and for defense.
For defense. And a manifestation of
love.
But just the same way that fear is a restraint mechanism.
Sure.
In every man. Because if there had not been a feeling of fear that is built into us, you will jump from this ninth floor. You will just be killing yourself. You jump into the river, into the ocean. But because of fear factor that is built into you as a system of restraint, you gauge, you calculate what you can do. You develop mastery. So you know if you can swim, you develop swimming skills before you jump into that thing. So mastery. Then you want to cross over the ocean, and you cannot do it by yourself. So you develop technology to build bridges, to build boats, to build ship, to be able to do what that's thanks to fear.
Wow.
And that's thanks to the system of constraint.
Wow. Let's go back to that question. I mean, this is amazing.
It's making you to think.
Yeah, it's good.
You are going deeper in your thoughts.
It's good.
You are seeing it.
It's good. Yeah, because I'm channeling to also how to build system for your life, to build system.
System of control is protection. It is ultimate protection. It is foresight. So the system of constraint that God put in the Garden of Eden, that tree of knowledge of good and bad or evil, it is a manifestation of God's ingenuity. It's a genius idea. Apart from the fact that it's a love idea, but it's a genius idea. And what is in the ingenuity of that idea is called foresight. Protecting posterity and protecting tomorrow and the future. Protecting legacy and protecting everything.
From today.
From today. Even from before today. From the time and before the system was created.
Fantastic.
Science is a beautiful thing. And the problem people have with science is that they don't know the Bible They don't know how to combine science with the Bible. So when I look at that Genesis chapter 1, I'm not just reading what is written there.
Religiously.
I am seeing science. It's making sense to me. And it's giving me principles. I'm understanding God's ingenuity, the genius of God, the wisdom of God. Science enables me to be able to look at things like that. Even though I never studied in school, but it's through self-development.
Because it's interesting how what you're seeing there, I mean, you look at that scripture, and that's what you was trying to say. Is it a trap? Was God setting them up? And you are seeing science. You are seeing God's ingenuity in that. You're seeing foresight. You're seeing love. You're seeing protection, like restraint, defense. I'm just imagining what a lot of things that we're not seeing
by ordinary people.
Wow.
And the problem why ordinary people don't see, especially science students themselves and professors, they rather see evil. And they rather say, no, God is wicked. Why is it that he knew that this thing was going to happen? Why didn't he didn't protect? They don't see what I'm saying. But God helped me to be able to connect the dots. Because they don't see, they don't know how to connect. That's why they are having struggle. Even though they are science students, because they don't connect the two. They are science students in their classrooms or at their workplace or at their place of work or something, but not, with regards to everything. But I'd like to, bring my principle to everywhere.
Because they've made religion and science
separated.
And they don't see any connection with both of them. All right, so I'd like us to see the question again, and then I'll read it just for people to know.
When you read it the second time, now you discover that it's a total different. I mean, you just be led in the different way.
It will be different now because there's understanding. There's understanding.
The same question.
Yeah, same question. Wow, no same. All right. So, hello, DSA. I've always wondered about something. See, person is wondering. You could help clarify it for me, sir. Perhaps you could help clarify. Okay, according to Genesis 2, verse 17, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat. For in the day that thou shalt eat thereof, thou shalt surely die. The question is, why did God create or even make it available if this tree was trouble and was not to be touched or eaten? And with reference to Exodus 21 or Exodus 20, why and how come God gave the 10 commandments where 8 of those laws were expressed in the negatives, thou shalt not, if in fact they were not meant to be broken? I really hope you can help out here. Wow. Yes, I say, and also with the commandment too.
So even now with that second question, I'm sure even without me, you yourself can answer.
I can explain to you the commandment part. So.
Is it?
Yeah.
Go ahead, give it a shot.
Yeah, let's explain the commandment part. This is how we used to understand it.
How?
God gave these people some commandments that he knew that they cannot keep.
Wow, are you serious?
Yeah.
So what?
So he just to prove that he's God, and he gave them these commandments, and when they sin, he just destroys them and just they could not keep the commandments. So why did he give it to them? And so that is the reason why grace preachers, people who preach grace, they're always like, we're done with the law. No law. And the law was not God's original intent.
I think I've got to write a book on the law.
Yeah.
The blessings and benefits of
the law. Yeah. So more like God never wanted us to live by the law. Because I've preached those kind of things before. That the law was not God's best. That it was grace. the law could not make.
There is a truth in that.
Yes.
Yes.
But then, I say the truth in it, but the line of thought is not to see the value of the law that was given, and what you just explained. Let's start with the ingenuity of God in giving the commandments. Why did he give the commandments? Because in those, for example, let's take the law of thou shalt
not kill.
Thou shalt not kill. Good. So why did God give thou shalt not kill? Because number one, he knows that if you kill another man, you just started a whole cycle and a whole cascade of self-destruction, and not just self-destruction, but you're even destroying life. So that's a cycle of destruction. So number one, before you think about killing somebody, think about what will be going on within you, the hate you're going to be, the negative energy that's going to be in you, the time you're going to be processing how to do evil and what is happening in your whole system, just wanting to go ahead and kill the person before you even kill. So let's now say now you go ahead and you kill somebody. What have you done? You've taken life from somebody. You've caused pain. You've caused sadness. You've created a loss. Sorrow with the people who loves that person or the family. That's just from killing. Now, that's not it. You've destroyed, or you've already come against God's plan for that life. Because that person that you went to kill, you didn't send him to the earth. You're not the creator of his life. So, and he showed up on earth for a purpose. So what you did was that you truncated not just a physical life of a person, but you truncated God's eternal plan for that life. So why would you want to do that? So let's move from that. Now, for you, the killer,
right?
Do you know what you're going to do when you kill? That's the reason why you're going to either you be in a cell, in the prison. Apart from the prison, the physical prison, you're going to be in inner prison of guilt, of pain, of sorrow. That why did I do this? So look at the whole catastrophe that you are creating for yourself, and it just tells you, I don't want you to go through all of this. It is because of you that I'm creating this system of restraints. Don't kill, because I know that if you kill, all of these things I just explained, and even more that I missed out, would occur. So don't. I love you. It is to preserve you. It is for you, not for me. It is to make sure that you function well here on this earth and not me. So that, just with that understanding that you share right now, is that so it is God's. I like the what you use. It is God's ingenuity, and it is like the top expression of God's love by setting up a system of restraint, and even the commandment, because God loves. It is love that made him give out this commandment.
Brilliant answer. Brilliant answer. The only thing is that you didn't explain here in the commandment area the importance of that restraint. That these commandments, they are also restraint. Because the brother who is asking this question said there are 10 commandments, and only 3 of them says, "Thou shalt not." That is much more emphatic and much more threatening, and that is the purpose.
The fear.
For you to know that thou shalt not, there will be consequences. And it's not going to be pretty. Thou shalt not. That means God feels strongly about it. So why does God use thou shalt not? Kill is one. Then there are still 2 more, right? Yeah. Okay, so thou shalt not. Those 3, they are so important. So let's take killing, for example. When the reason God use thou shalt not is that phrase itself is a restraint mechanism. It's a restraint mechanism so that you will control yourself and restrain yourself. Because when you kill, God said, thou shalt not kill, because there are going to be consequences beyond what you can control. The consequences will go beyond the people who love that person and who will suffer. The consequences will go beyond the life that was taken, the person who is dead. And even it goes beyond the plan and purposes of God for the life of that person that is truncated. It will even go beyond the people, the date, the children, the wife, everybody who will suffer, and the purpose that will not be fulfilled. It goes beyond all that. So for something to go beyond that, God has to really let you know that please don't do it. So why does it go beyond that? Where? In what area? Okay? God wants you to know that killing and doing any of those things that I say do not do, we have consequences beyond you, beyond the person you killed, beyond the relatives, beyond even the purpose, and even beyond the earth itself. Because everybody that is killed, you have to look at creation, and the creation of man especially, as an ecosystem. Man is created in the image of God and in the likeness of God. And whenever you see any man, that person is united with God in the ecosystem. Man is in God's ecosystem. By ecosystem, I'm talking about universality, about the cycle, one ecosystem, one full all-round, or what they call full cycle, one full cycle. So if man is in God's image, that means man is in God's ecosystem, is connected. If man is God's likeness, it means that man is built into God's ecosystem. Let me give you an example of that. Your teeth, or any one of your tooth, is built into your ecosystem, in the totality of your personality, or of your person. Your fingers, even your nail, is in your ecosystem. So, for example, if I take a plier and I want to pluck out your nail, is it just your nail that will feel that, or feel the consequences of that pain? Okay, maybe just your finger. That's because this finger is nail that I'm plucking out.
No.
Is it that your finger that will feel the consequences of that attempt?
No.
What will feel it?
The whole body.
Because it's an ecosystem united into one harmoniously. That is the way, when I talk about God's ecosystem, just the way your tooth, your eye, your eyelashes, your finger, your tail, your toes, your everything is into your ecosystem. That's how man is built into God's ecosystem. So if I try to, without anesthesis, I try to remove your teeth and pull it out to affect your head. God is our head. Okay, let me go even simpler. You as an ecosystem, you have cells. And these cells you have, they are so minute, but they are so many. They are in the hundreds of millions, maybe billions. So if I take a needle, just a needle, not even knife, not gun, just a needle, and I just punch you, and I kill one cell, and I punch one cell, where do you feel it? Do you feel it?
Everywhere.
Everywhere, ecosystem. Billions. The same way there are billions of those cells in your body, the same way there are billions of people, human beings on the earth. But they are all into God, in God. Because in the beginning, we were in Him. From the beginning of the earth. Before the foundation of the earth, we are built into God's ecosystem. We are in Him. So even though you didn't cut anything off, so when anybody is killed on earth, it's like you are killing a cell in the body of God. So the consequence of what you have done is affecting God himself. It's, even though you have billions of those cells, but even if it is one that I touch, that I punch, God, your whole, the same way your whole system feels it, because of the death of that cell, that's the same way God feels it. So to kill a man is to raise a hand on God. Is to destroy yourself because you are in that same ecosystem. So, for example, you say, no, I just use this my hand to punch, to puncture this hand. I will not feel it. It's just this hand I'm puncturing with the nail. But when you kill that cell there, this your hand that just killed it, you just killed yourself. So the man goes ahead to destroy himself, to kill himself, and is killing the whole ecosystem of God. That's why there's no way that there will be no consequences. So God said, please don't. This one, don't even think of doing it. Because you are now going deep into God's heart, into God's ecosystem. Every one of us is built into God.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Just like the cell. The cell system that is built into us in billions is a picture of the way we are built into God.
Wow.
In the billions of us as well.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
I don't know if you get it.
Yes, I get it. I get it very well. Because
very comprehensive.
But it's comprehensive, but it's something that needs to be...
It's clear enough.
Yeah, but clear. Because the Bible, we read these things because the Bible says that we're in Him from the foundation of the world. And we read all those things that we're in Christ.
But no connection.
But we're not able to make connect
all
those dots. And I mean, and even the fact that he says thou shalt not kill, and he's not saying thou shalt not kill a Christian or thou shalt not kill a Muslim. There's no separation. It's thou shalt not kill man generally.
In totality.
In totality. I mean, great stuff. I think this kind of video is what listening to over and over and over and over and over and over.
Make you think by force.
And makes you think by force, and you do your you do your research and also come up with
your brain will come alive.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if the viewers are also feeling what I'm feeling here, but well, that's what you get when you're with Dr. Sandey Adelaja. It makes your brain work. It makes you think. It just pushes you to become alive, even if you're sleeping. You
wake up.
You wake up, and you'll be on the edge. You'll be like, what am I hearing? What am I hearing? Because it just be like Jesus when he was teaching and said, and people were saying, these are hard sayings. How can we get it? That's what you feel. Well, and I want to give thanks to the person who asked this question, because like Dr. Sandey will say, if you don't ask,
you're not going to receive. Like Jesus said about not me.
But you say, yeah, you're cutting Jesus though. That if you don't ask, you wouldn't receive. And I want to thank the person who asked this question, because we might never have had the opportunity to even get such an answer like this for a question like this. So thank you so much. And I want to announce to our viewers, please kindly share this video. If you've not shared the video, I want to believe that maybe one person or two would benefit from the answers that was just shared. And if you would like to call into the studio, you can. Please just write to us at Facebook Messenger. Go to Facebook Messenger and search for Move Agents on Facebook Messenger. You go search for us and write to us that you would like to call into the studio, and would definitely love to hear your opinion, your thoughts, and what you have to say about it. All right? Good. So I think we still have time to answer the next question. Let's see what that question is. The second question. All right. Now.
Is this the second question?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
No.
No?
No. The I know he knows. I know he knows.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's no, just...
Yeah, I know he knows.
Okay.
Good. I know he knows, that's his God. I know God knows, or he knows the end from the beginning. So he is already aware of all transgressions and indiscretions. And I believe he also knows about the betrayal of Jesus by Judas, and his denial by Peter, and the facts of life concerning David and Solomon and King Saul, even before these things happened. how could you be wrong and right at the same time when you are somewhat pre-programmed or predestined to meet with purpose or act on some matters somehow?
Okay. So this is a continuation.
Same
of the
line
question.
of thought. Yeah.
So I hope you can clarify the question. Did you get it? Or you don't?
I quite get it, but
okay.
This person is talking about...
It's the same person?
Yeah, the same person, yeah.
Okay.
It's a question that I've also tried asking about predestination and what's the word? Are we living by choice or are we predestined? What,
free will or predestination?
Yeah, free will and predestination. How does it play? If God is all-knowing, if God is all-knowing and He knows about what will happen to Jesus and Peter and everything, so where does man's free will come to play?
Okay. First of all, you have to connect this question to the previous question.
Yes.
And it is clear it's coming from the same person. Okay. This person is saying, why should God put a tree in the Garden of Eden after knowing that the man will fall? Because he's all-knowing anyway.
Yes.
Okay. So why should He put it there? Or why should He even give the commandments and even say, do not do this?
When He knows that
He knows that man has the tendency will probably break it. Okay. And then the same thing with Peter, is it?
Yeah, with
Judas Peter, especially. Peter, yeah. David, Saul, that God set them up. That's basically what this person is trying to say. Okay. So first of all, you've got to start by connecting all these questions to the first part of the questions that we have already answered, which means there is a need for restraint, okay, for a system to be maintained. For life on the earth to be maintained, there was need for restraint. Yes. For the system that God thought of creating man, the creation of man, who will function on earth as a model of the kingdom of God, there must be a restraint, a system of restraint. And that was why that tree was there. Okay. What does the system of restraint do? Restraint, like commandments, and like in this case, only comes to unveil, display, and reveal hidden things in the system. So, for example, this situation with Judas, why is it that it's not everybody that committed that sin? He had 12 disciples. Why is it that just Judas had that thought? Because there is one of the things that restraints do, systems of restraint. They unveil the part of you that you didn't even know was there. They provoke, or they, so it's also a feedback mechanism or a detective measure for the creator of the system to see the hidden things, not just because he didn't know it, he's all-knowing, but when those hidden things come out, you yourself will know who you are. That's one of the things that laws do for us, to us. And that's why God said, do not judge. Because laws will bring out from you the things that you didn't even know was there. So when somebody is committing something, because he is in that place, that something, because you will argue. And with the situation with Peter, it's exactly like that. When he said, I will never deny you. And Jesus said, you will. But he said, I will never do it. But eventually, when he denied Jesus, it brought him to a state of repentance because it opened his eyes to the fallibility of his nature and to his own, because God could tell you that you will do this, you will argue with God even. And Peter argued with God. Even when Jesus was sitting down there with Judas, if he had told Judas directly, it is you, he would have argued because the temptation has not come. They had not given him the money. And they didn't know, sometimes we say never because we don't know the amount of temptation we're going to, the situation we're going to fall into. But so in that case, law is good. System of restraint is good because it's not just making God know, because God already knew. But it's making me, helping me to know that I am not as good as I thought. It's helping me deal with my pride, with my ego, with my self-assurance and assumedness, with my arrogance. And also is bringing me to a place of brokenness and repentance, just like it brought Paul to the place of brokenness. Making me to again acknowledge the superior system upon which I actually depended, even to be holy, even to be right. But because I thought I would never do that, I was not depending on that system. But my weakness and my failure has helped me to see myself and therefore acknowledge my need for my master. That's why Peter wept and repented. And that's why even Judas repented and went and threw the thing away and committed suicide. That's an act of massive repentance. So they had second chance. Because, so to somebody who say, why did it even have to happen in the first place? Didn't God know that it would happen? God knew, but he didn't know. It's not about God. It's about him. It's to help him to see that he was not at the place where I thought he was. He was not as good as he thought he was. And deal with that self-assumption, the arrogance, the pomposity, the self centeredness that he had. So that's why every situation, even David that you mentioned, he came to the point where, so that restraint, the restraint of the law helped him to see his wretchedness and to come to a place of acknowledgement and the place of grace. Same with Saul, same with all of them. So now that you have humbled yourself, grace becomes available to you. So you are now open to a larger possibility, infinite ability of God and possibility of God, rather than your own limited one that you never even knew you are limited in. I don't know, it's too complex, eh?
No, I'm
oh, you are following.
I'm following.
You're able
you.
to grasp
I'm following you because I'm processing it with my understanding of grace and law, and how the in Galatians how.
So during the time of law, grace now, and that's the problem, because you are processing it with grace and law, but have not reached there yet.
Okay.
And that is going to deprive you of really going deeper into exactly what I am describing.
Okay.
Because when you go ahead like that, then you didn't quite get this. You miss out on this. So the grace, we'll get there later on. But the grace is for us to grace is for us to not wait till we get to a place of failure or default. But grace is appeared to us for us to already, prior to our failure, to already acknowledge our failure.
Okay.
And embrace grace rather than thrust in our own infallibility, then which would lead us to shame.
Yeah.
But we still have to acknowledge that weakness, failure, and infallibility, and failure, and the nature of, our we still have to our fallibility. We still have to acknowledge that, but ahead of time, and embrace grace, and then swim into that grace and allow the grace to carry us, rather than faith in its dependence on my righteousness.
Wow. I mean, it was good that you cautioned me to come back, because it's true that most times we process things, we all fall victim to processing things from our prior knowledge, and we miss out. Because as we were talking, I was following your thoughts until when you brought in the grace into it, and then I started processing it in form of grace. Because when you were talking all through, I realized that you explaining that God knows, that God knowing is not a problem. God knowing should not even give you headache. He knows, okay, that's who he is. But it is you, do you know? Do you know? And I was, as we were talking, and it's true, the nature of man is, the fallen nature as such of man is to want to see himself more highly than he ought to, or to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, to see himself as, I can do this. And it happens to us most of the time that we, like you said, like Peter is like all of us actually. And when God was telling Peter, you will do this. You will deny me. And Peter was saying, no, I won't. And he was saying that because he had not yet faced that temptation, like you said. He had not, the opportunity, the system of restraint that was set, he had not gotten to that point where he was going to be tested and tried. To know, at least to reveal to him that this is what you have inside of you. But he kept on denying, like many of us would deny, that no, I will never do this, I will never try this, until that temptation comes, or until that system that God has created, where you are already going out of the system, and then the temptation comes. I'm even seeing temptation right now as a blessing, sort of. Because it's as though if you're going already out of the system, that temptation comes to make you reveal that you're already living
on the edge.
You're already on the edge. So that temptation comes, and then when you fall, then it should lead you to repentance, to come back to the normal way, to come back to that cycle, that system, so you don't go out of it.
Yes.
And that's just, many things. And I'm connecting it right now to when Jesus was saying that let no one say he's tempted of God, that everyone is tempted of his own lust, meaning what was inside that person. So that temptation that you have, that you felt, it was because of your own lust, what was inside of you. And so with the whole...
It's unveiling.
It's unveiling what is inside of you.
But what this person who is asking question is asking is thinking from the other side that it is God that is tempting
God
you.
that is tempting.
No, but it's to unveil and reveal what is inside.
What's inside of you. And ultimately, I like the way you ended it, and I think I'm happy that I also say that I'm processing it through law and grace, because it's, at least you ended it in a very good way by saying that the reason why grace showed up, or why there's grace, is for you not to get to fail and fall, and then you now come to your senses that, oh, I'm not even good enough, or I'm not even
that, that will still happen.
It will still happen, but
yeah,
at least
early
enough.
It's an opportunity for you to
get it early enough, and so that you can do more. Well, this is real class. This is real class, life class, understanding. I really love the scripture where I think it was
Understanding God.
Yeah, Understanding
God. That's a perfect book for it.
Yeah, where it was Solomon that was saying that, give me understanding that I may live.
Yes.
Give me understanding that I may live. And that's true to the degree of understanding that you have, to that degree of life
you will enjoy.
That you enjoy. And I'm just imagining Christians that are just suffering and are just blaming God, abusing him, or saying that God is not good, why did he do this? And even atheists that are using these scriptures as a stance as to, look at your God. Your God is saying, gave this and he did that, he did that. But understanding God changes everything. And that's the book that we have right here, titled Understanding God. I think it's a book that everybody should get.
And everything we've been talking about is also about process, which leads us to the second book, which is the latest book I just released.
Yeah.
That, all these things are processes. But because we are not interested in also knowing processes, we just want to say, but God knew now, so why do you allow that to happen? So it's about results again. So we want to just know the result. We just say that the result is bad now, but you don't want to see the process, why that's...
in between.
Yes. So that's why I would recommend everybody to get this book on process.
Wow.
If you get this book on process, you will understand life differently.
So all your books are designed to help us understand God, to help us understand life, and to understand ourselves. I don't know if we have a caller. Do we have any caller? Well, we don't have a caller.
I think people are thinking on
on the discussion. Well, it's worth thinking.
On what they are hearing.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth thinking. It's worth going to listen again, because it's like you went into a zone that very few people enter into, to just demystify a lot of things that we couldn't grasp, or that we were interpreting from our limited understanding or limited knowledge. And this is a good thing that people can even share with their atheist friends or people who have once doubted God. I think this would even show them about how real this God is, and how good he is, his love, his ingenuity, and many areas.
Because to let you know your fallibility and your to come face to face with it is also love. Because if you don't recognize that and realize it, you come to self-destruction.
Sure. So everything's out of love.
Yeah.
Well, the Bible has said it, that God is love. So I think that's the best way to begin to interpret all of the actions of God in the Bible, in everywhere. That I may not understand it.
People will say, for example, where is love in the fact that Adam and Eve fell? But today they got the answer.
It's clear.
Where is love that for us, Judas? Where is love there? Where is the love of God when David committed what he did? Where is the love of God, all these things? Well, if you listen to this thing properly,
it will give you the understanding.
You will know it's clear.
Well, thank you so much, our viewers. Our time is up, and today was another explosive time on the Ask Dr. Sandey show. Well, if you're just joining us, what that means is that you came in at the point of our exit. But that's no problem. Please do well to share this video, because if you share it on your timeline, by doing that, you are able to save the video and you can come back to watch it even after we are done. I'd like to give some very important announcements. The first of which is that if you have a question to Dr. Sandey, please feel free to write your question right now on the comment section. The team would gather your questions for the subsequent episodes. And if you want to be anonymous, you could just go to sundayadelajablog.org. sundayadelajablog.com/ask, and you're going to see the interface there, and you can send in your question. And also, in 2 weeks' time, we're going to be having the History Makers training that is titled How to Build Systems for National Transformation. And if you have the ability to travel to Ukraine and you don't need a visa, meaning you have an EU passport, you could register by going to sundayadelajablog.com/HMT. sundayadelajablog.com/HMT, or you could write to us at hmt@godembassy.org. hmt@godembassy.org. So it's from the 8th to the 12th of April. And as you can see, the books that we have, Understanding God, and then the latest release by Dr. Sandey, which is titled Process, is as important as the result, or as results. You could also get that book on Amazon Kindle Unlimited for free, or you could order for the book on Amazon or on Okada Books, or you could write to the office here to get the books in bulk by writing to us at dsasbooks@gmail.com. dsasbooks@gmail.com. So thank you for being with us on this episode. It was great. And okay, yeah, I can see the WhatsApp. If you would like to receive WhatsApp messages from us, you just write to us on our WhatsApp number. That's +380 98 596 3838, as you can see on the screen. All right, so thank you for being with us. From me, I'll be saying bye. See you in the next episode on the Ask Dr. Sandey show. My name is Anu Ojo. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. Peace.